Deep in the Arctic, beyond the maps, beyond civilization, there is a showdown so dangerous that even scientists refuse to predict the winner. Dr. Aaron Holt, U.S. Marine Mammal Research Center. If Americans knew how brutal this fight truly is, they'd never look at the Arctic the same way again. In the farthest reaches of the Arctic world, where the ocean breathes mist into a sky of endless white, a silent war has shaped survival for thousands of years. Here, at the edge of the ice, two giants share the same realm and the same hunger. One is a wandering monarch, a ghost draped in fur, driven by cold and solitude. The other is a living fortress, armored in skin and armed with tusks carved by evolution. And when their paths cross, the ice itself seems to tremble. This is the story of the polar bear and the walrus. The Arctic begins its day without a sunrise. Light simply grows, swelling across the horizon like a whispered promise. On a drifting sheet of sea ice, a massive male polar bear lifts his head. He breathes in slowly, tasting the air. Hunger burns inside him like a slow fire. He has been traveling for days, crossing fractured ice fields, searching for the one chance that keeps him alive. Every step is a gamble. Every moment is survival. Polar bears are built for the hunt, 9 feet tall, nearly half a ton of muscle and instinct. But even kings starve in a kingdom made of ice, and today the bear needs a victory. He begins moving, his paws silent on the frost-crusted surface, nose guiding him across a frozen maze. Far below the ice shelf, the ocean stirs. A deep rumble echoes like distant thunder. It grows louder, closer, and then the surface shatters upward as a colossal walrus emerges. Steam pours from its mouth as it exhales. Its tusks, 3 feet of lethal ivory, glow against the morning light. It was born into a fortress, wrapped in skin thick as armor and fat dense enough to survive the planet's harshest waters. The walrus heaves its bulk onto the ice, joining a massive herd clustered around the floe. They are loud, they are powerful, and they are everything the polar bear wants and everything he fears. For 20 minutes, the bear watches them from a distance. He knows the rules carved into the Arctic. One walrus means danger, but a herd means death. Still, hunger pushes him closer. The bear descends the ridge of ice, creeping inch by inch. He searches for weakness, an injury, an older bull, a calf separated from the group. But walruses do not stand alone. They bunch together, forming a living wall of tusks and massive bodies. Each one weighs more than the bear. The ice groans under their weight. The bear hesitates. He is brave, not foolish. He changes direction, following the shoreline. Time passes, ice shifts. The wind sharpens. The bear continues on. Across the vast white plain, the walrus herd moves toward open water. They know the ice is thinning with every passing season. Their instincts pull them toward safety. But safety is relative in a world where predators roam. Hours later, as fog rolls in, the bear senses something new, something different. A smaller walrus calf stands near the edge of a slope, separated by a long crack in the ice. The herd is only a dozen feet away, but in the Arctic, a dozen feet can be the distance between life and death. The bear lowers himself, muscles tense, heart pounding. He begins to stalk, slow, deliberate, unseen. But a walrus mother rarely sleeps. Before the bear reaches striking distance, the mother rolls, snorts, and rises. Her tusks slice the air. She bellows, shaking frost from her whiskers. The bear freezes. The herd erupts. Walruses slam their bodies together, forming a shield, pushing calves beneath their bellies. The bear retreats, not defeated, calculating. The Arctic gives no easy meals. Hours turn into days,
The wind becomes a living thing, carving white walls across the plains. Snow hammers the ice with relentless fury. Through the blizzard, the bear walks, head low, each breath a cloud. Hunger tightens his ribs. His paws bleed from the ice, yet he pushes forward. Finally, the blizzard breaks, and fate shifts. A group of walruses lie stranded on a lower ice shelf. Steep cliffs block their escape. The herd is trapped, exhausted from hauling themselves ashore. This is rare. This is dangerous. This is opportunity. From above, the polar bear appears like a ghost on the ridge. He watches the walruses below. They are huddled, vulnerable, but not defenseless. Their tusks glint like spears. Their size alone could crush him if he miscalculates. For a long time, he studies them. The walruses grow restless. The ice cracks below. Pressure builds. The atmosphere thickens with tension. And then, silence. The bear moves. He descends the slope with explosive power. Ice shatters beneath him. The walruses bellow in shock. One turns, too slow. The bear charges, slamming into its side. But walruses are not prey. They are warriors.
The bull swings its tusks, nearly catching the bear's throat. The bear leaps aside. The herd explodes in chaos. Walruses thrash their bodies, pushing toward the water. Their voices echo against the cliffs. Snow plumes into the air. The bear tries again, claws ripping into thick hide. But his attack barely pierces the walrus's armor. The walrus spins violently, smashing the bear with its weight. The bear stumbles back, breath knocked out. Still, he does not retreat. He lunges again and again. The walrus fights with roaring fury. Tusks swing dangerously close. One wrong step, and the bear would be impaled. Minutes stretch into a brutal battle of strength and will. Blood stains the snow. Ice fractures beneath their struggle. Another walrus thrashes wildly, nearly crushing the bear. He retreats up the slope, but only for seconds. He descends once more, driven by instinct, by hunger, by the primal fire of survival. Finally, the ice beneath the wounded walrus gives way. With a thunderous crash, it collapses into a pit between the ridges. The walrus cannot climb out. The bear stands at the edge, chest heaving, victorious but exhausted. The fight is over. But in the Arctic, victory is never gentle. It takes hours for the bear to finally claim his reward. And even as he feeds, he remains alert, because in this frozen world, danger never sleeps. The ice shifts, the wind rises, the ocean whispers new threats. Far from the battlefield, the walrus herd regroups. They grieve in their own quiet way, gathering around the water's edge. Their instincts tell them to move on. They raise their tusks toward the wind and plunge into the freezing ocean, returning to the one place where the bear cannot follow. Days pass. The bear regains his strength. He drinks meltwater from the snow. He sleeps beneath drifting ice shadows. Then one morning, as the sun reflects against endless white plains, he rises again. The hunt continues. The struggle never ends. For in the Arctic, survival is a story written every day, a story of giants, a story of endurance, a story of two titans shaped by the frozen edge of the world. One, a ghost walking on ice. The other, a fortress rising from the sea. And in their eternal rivalry, the Arctic breathes, evolves, and endures. Because here, there are no villains, no heroes, only the endless balance between hunger and survival, between strength and strategy, between the polar bear and the walrus. And as long as ice exists, their story will continue. Etched in the snow, echoes of their battles carried across the quiet breath of the northern wind.